How you doing? I'm Darren with Ash Kickin' Barbecue, and today we're talking tri-tip. Now, if you've never cooked tri-tip before, it's very simple, it's very delicious, and we're going to be reverse searing this today out on our Pit Boss Pro Series 1600. We're going to be using Cookin' Pellets Longhorn Blend, which is just mesquite, cherry, and hard maple. I'm a huge fan of mesquite on beef, so I'm really looking forward to the flavor profile that these pellets are going to give this beef. So without further ado, let's bring you in and show you how we're going to prep this tri-tip. Okay guys, I just want to go ahead and show you the marbling in this tri-tip. It feels incredibly tender. It's very loose and floppy. It doesn't feel tight, but really nice marbling throughout this. We got a little bit of the fat cap back on here, but it came to me with the fat cap off, which I would remove it for reverse searing it anyways because I want a nice crust on both sides of this tri-tip. If I was cooking it brisket style, I would leave that on to protect the meat, but we're going to be reverse searing it today. And so all I did was just come in and remove any of the hard fat and remove the silver skin, so that way we don't have any barriers for our smoke and our rub, and we can get seasoning all throughout and get a good flavor. And like I said, we're keeping this cook extremely simple today. We're just going to be using Tailgater's Barbecue Party Rub, which is a wonderful, wonderful beef rub. And as you guys know, I love it on everything, especially beef. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with the side that we have down, just so we can keep our top side looking pretty. And we're just going to go ahead and season this up. And I have had this sitting out for about 45 minutes to an hour just to get the chill off and let it come up to temp here. And this is a pretty big piece of meat, so don't be afraid to go heavy with your rub. Obviously don't bury it if it's a salty rub, but this isn't too salty. It's very well balanced. So we're going to give a nice coat on this. Go ahead and press that in. And then we're going to flip it over and we're going to repeat the process on the other side. And then to get our sides, we can just go ahead and pick up the excess off the board here. Leave no seasoning behind. So we're going to let this hang out while the cooker comes up to temp, and I'll meet you guys outside when we're ready to get this on. Alright guys, and before we get this out on the cooker, I do want to go ahead and get a probe in this because I don't want to overcook this piece of meat, and we're shooting for a medium rare on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get my probe in the thickest part of this thing, which, looking at it, kind of appears to be about right here. So I'm just going to kind of measure in and then go in this back side here, and that's looking pretty good. So I just want to get this in because I definitely do not want to overcook this. One thing you will see here is, it's a little bit thinner over here, a little bit thicker here, and then a little bit thicker here. So if you have someone who likes things a little bit more well done, maybe they can eat from this side of it. But then once we get here, and especially from here, it's a little bit thicker. So we're just going to go ahead and monitor our temperatures because, like I said, we want that medium rare for my reverse sear. So we're probably going to bring this up to about 120 degrees, pull it off, crank up our grill, and then sear it off. So let's meet you guys outside at the cooker. All right, you can see we have our tri-tip on. I have the thicker side towards the fire pot. That way we're not overcooking this side. I have my ThermoWorks smoke hooked up. We're at 48.8 degrees. And I apologize for the background noise. I got a guy mowing, never fails. Every time I want to film, we got a ton of background noise, but we'll just suffer through it. And got the Pit Boss Pro Series 1600 running at 250 degrees. And we're just going to let this thing go until it hits 120 degrees, and then we'll come out and check on it. So we'll see you guys in, and I'll let you know how long it's taken. Okay guys, it has been 1 hour exactly. Our tri-tip is reading 120 degrees. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get it in this pan, pull it off, and let it rest. And I'm going to crank up my grill here to high so we can get a good sear on it. So I'll bring you back when it's time to sear. Okay guys, we have our grill up to temp. These grill grates are reading about 550 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and spray them with a little bit of this duck fat here. And then we're going to go ahead and get our tri-tip on. And all we're going to do is just lay it across this way. And we're just going to push down on it so we have good contact. And we're going to let this go for 1 minute. Okay guys, so it's been about a minute. We're going to come on in. We're going to just pick this up. We're going to rotate it 90 degrees. Make sure we have some good contact there. I guess it's not quite about 90 degrees, but we want to get some good diamonds on this tri-tip. Make sure we have good contact here. And we're going to let that go for another minute. Alright guys, so it has been 1 minute. We're going to go ahead and flip our tri-tip and repeat the process on the other side. See, we have some nice marks there. Those are looking good. We'll We'll go ahead, just give it a press so we have good contact. We'll let her go for another minute. Alright guys, so it's been another minute. We're just going to go ahead and rotate this tri-tip. We'll let that go for another minute. Alright guys, so it's been another minute. We're going to go ahead and take a temp reading here. We're sitting at about 126 degrees, and that is perfect. So we're going to go ahead and get this off and get it into our pan. You can see that's looking really good. We're going to let it rest, and I will bring you back when it's time for the taste test. Okay guys, you can see we have our tri-tip here. We let it rest for about 10 minutes. Now one thing I will say is my grill marks didn't get as dark as I would like them to, and that's because I had them at 550 degrees. I typically like them at around 600 to 650 degrees, and also we only seared them for about a minute, so that's why they're not as dark. Regardless, this is going to be absolutely delicious, and I can't wait to try it. Those cooking pellets, the smoke on here smells absolutely wonderful. So without further ado, let's go ahead and slice into this tri-tip and see how we did. I'm gonna bring you in and show you how it looks. So let's check it out. Okay guys, and before we slice into this, I just wanna show you, it might be hard to tell on camera, but you can see where the grain is running, and you wanna be sure you slice against the grain. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut it in half, and we're gonna see how it looks. We were going for a medium rare today, and I'd say that looks pretty good to me. A little bit more on the rare side, but that's fine. That's exactly how I like it. Now, to slice this up, you want to slice against the grain. So the grain's running this way, so we're just going to go ahead and just start slicing. And like I said, on this side, it's going to be a little bit more done, and that's great for people who enjoy that. And then we're just going to go ahead and slice it up. See how it looks. Oh yeah, nice and juicy. Still a little bit more done down here than it was in the center, but that's still pretty close to a medium rare, and I'll take that all day long. It's definitely not overcooked. So go ahead and get a few slices out of there. Now, on this side here, it's kind of hard to tell, but the grain is running this way. So how you're going to want to slice this is against the grain. You're just going to go through and take them down like that, and this is slicing really nice. It feels extremely tender, and I can't wait to try this. And it looks really good. It may be hard to tell on camera the doneness that it usually is, but I'm very happy with this. This is something I'm going to enjoy eating. So let's bring you out and let's jump in for a taste test. All right guys, and you can see here, that is looking absolutely delicious. It smells wonderful. Now we can kind of tell here the grain's starting to run this way. So if we're going to go ahead and slice it, we're just going to go back to starting over here and make sure we get a nice tender piece and just get this all sliced up. So feels extremely tender, but I can't wait any longer. We got to go ahead and try it. I'm gonna get me off a slice of this. Cheers. You guys, this is absolutely delicious. If you've never done reverse seared tri-tip before, I highly recommend it. The beefiness on it is absolutely wonderful. Like I said, just be sure you cook it to the doneness that you like. For me, that's medium rare to medium at most. This is more on the medium rare side, which I'm perfectly okay with. And then also make sure you're cutting against the grain. That's very important for you to get a tender bite. And I know a few of these weren't quite against the grain, but I caught it. And of course, got to make a little mistake while I'm filming. That's just how it goes. But you're going to have a much more tender chew if you cut against the grain, like with anything. So if you need to, take a picture of it before you season it and before you cook it. That way you can tell which way the grains are running, and just be mindful of that. Either way, this is absolutely delicious, and we will see you next time.